strange when working on a Tesla. The paint isn't like what you'd expect on any other car. It's almost a bit like working on a Mustang from sort of 50 years ago. We're still actually getting the odd bit of paint transfer on the pad, but yeah, it's a 3-stage pearl, so it makes no absolute sense whatsoever. Really difficult to actually get a good finish with using anything but a Rotary. And as we've said for a long time, we are pretty into Rotary. I've been doing Rotary for over 20 years. DAs are really good. Rupees, Bigfoot, we do have a couple on the shelf, as you'll see there. You know, they are actually good buffers, but the problem is working on this car with the Rupees, it's actually putting micro marring in everywhere, and we did it on a part of the bonnet and it took about 4 hours to fix. So everything on this car has to be done by Rotary, which does take time, it takes a lot of care, and you've got to be really careful. And what I'm going to show you now is the pad itself we're using for the bumpers, because they're really soft. But literally it's the paint transfer that's the weird part to see. It's not something you'd expect, and I think it's just a little bit of paint in the actual lacquer itself, the way it's been painted on, because it hasn't gone through the paint. It's not causing any issues. We've taken no microns off at all really, and it must just be the way the guns are actually used, but it is just a bit of an oddball and a bit of a weird thing to see. So I'm about to show you the pads now. So as you'll see on the pad, you've actually got tiny little speckles of red in different areas, which as I say is really bizarre. It's not something you normally expect to see unless you're working on solids, an old school 2-pack sort of paint, not base, especially when it's a 3-stage pearl like this one, which as you can see, I mean, it is a hell of a colour. But to get paint transfer from something like this, it just gives you a bit, it's a bit worrying at first. You just got to kind of step back and actually see what's happening with it. So the other thing we noticed is there's a couple of stone chips, one on the bonnet itself, and then there's a mark on the door where I think it may have been knocks at some point. This paint is a 3-stage pearl, so it's a bit tricky to do any touch-ups. So we've obviously got the paint itself here. We're going to have to do a little bit of mixing, put it on in stages, and also heat it up as well, just so we can actually keep applying different layers. It's not like a normal touch-up, so it's going to be a little bit trickier, but it'll obviously look a lot less than say the marks on the car itself, which I'll show you one of them now. So as you can see there, it's not a major chip, but it's really obvious because it's gone through to the actual initial base itself, like the primer, and we just need to get things like that touched up just so it's a little bit less obvious. And if you want to see how you get glass perfect, best example is pretty much all glass. One thing we did notice is there's quite a bit of stain here on the, well, it's not leather, it's apparently like a vegan leather in these. I don't know if you can see on there, but there's quite a bit of grain, and we're going to basically finish that off as part of the free valet that we actually do. We'll show you that finished in a minute.